Shalom friends, welcome to this second Shear in the wonderful work called Likutei Halachot, written by Reb Noson, the student of Reb Nachman of Breslov. We'll be learning from this beautiful edition of the Likutei Halachot, as you see over here, which is published by Oz V'Hadar, together with the publishing of Rabbi David Chai Abu Chatzera. It's a very beautiful edition. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reading from the notes of the edition. In other words, we're going to be reading the original material together with the notes at the same time. If you'd like to follow for yourselves, please purchase this book. I'm just advertising it, of course, for them, in the sense that I hope that they will get sales. I get nothing from the sales, of course. I hope that you will purchase the book because I believe it's a beautiful book and you only stand to gain from the studies involved. And of course, if you're following my shiurim, you'll be able to read inside in the book with me if you don't want to just listen to the shiur. So in the previous shiur, we were discussing this beautiful teaching of Dinei Hashkamat HaBoker, the laws of waking up in the morning. And what we're speaking about here is the theme, because remember, Likutei Halachot is all about taking the halacha and then giving an insight into it from a Hasidic insight, a Kabbalistic insight. Really what we're doing is we're getting to the Kabbalistic insight into the halacha. As we learn what the halacha is, we understand the Hasidic nuances. We understand the beauty of the halacha as it pertains to our lives in a spiritual sense, and not only in the physical sense of actually fulfilling the halacha. In our last lesson, we spoke about the importance of when we wake up in the morning is the idea, of course, of seeing the good points in ourselves. And this is where we're taking off, the idea of seeing good points and then being able to do away with the bad points so that we'll be able to pray to Hashem and to achieve that we want to achieve in life. Let us take a look at the continuation. So I'm on page Dalit, if you happen to have this book, and I'm on the second paragraph, and we're going to go through to the end of the first point section of this particular discussion. So here we go. V'al yedei zeh. So Reb Noson points out that through this, meaning shemistakel al hatov shebo, when a person looks at the good that is in him, that's the important point, yachol lesameach et atzmo, a person can bring happiness to himself. People are walking around in the world, they say, how do I become a happy person? What should I do? Should I buy myself a new car? Should I go on holiday? Should I buy a bigger house? Should I go out to eat? What should we do to become happy? Reb Noson points out, following in the teachings of his Rebbe, Reb Nachman of Breslov, that the idea is to find happiness. Become happy in yourself. Betov shemiskale bo, see the good that is in a person himself. Now, he brings down over here in the notes that it's explained in the Ma'amar and onwards, Hatov hazeh hu hitbarer. This goodness is sorted out, it gets clarified, it gets cleansed. V'yetze min harashem urav bo, and it exits from the evil that is mixed in it. Everything in life today is mixed with a combination of good and bad. And that's one of our problems, is that we see the bad that is mixed with the good, and we don't see the good that's mixed with the bad. And our duty is then to remove the good. Umishum kach az davka ikar hasimcha. And that is exactly how we get to happiness. By removing the good from the evil, we're able to get to a state of happiness, because after all, what is happiness? It is seeing the good in everything. That brings a person to happiness. Of course, that's why you'll see that the newspapers sell out so well with all the bad news going on in the world. Because the irony, of course, is that they want us to look into the bad and to get focused on it and to say, this is terrible, this is awful, and nobody wants to see the good. Why? Because the good really brings out happiness, and it's a constant looking at this evil, at this negativity that we see that the media brings out to us constantly, that brings us into a state of sadness and prevents us from getting on with our lives. We need to see happiness in our lives. We need to see the good. Once we see good news, hey, what happened there? This person got married, fantastic. He had a child, wonderful. And there was a bris, excellent. What's the next simcha? He finished a masechet of the Talmud, that's wonderful. What else? He's learned how to read Hebrew, fantastic. And each person grows to themselves. When we start seeing the good points, we begin to become filled with happiness inside ourselves. Az davka ikar hasimcha, that is the happiness. Ki machmat she'atov alav hara nichna, because when the good ascends and the bad is humbled al yedei habiru, through the sorting out. We sort the good from the bad. That's the essence of life. All the time sorting out the good from the bad. We have to say, when we look at our lives, where are we in relation to where we should be? And we notice that in our path, we see good points, we see bad points. Push aside the bad, focus on the good. Through this, the evil will not hold back from the happiness. If you want to see more, go and see what Reb Noson says there in this Torah 178. Let us continue. Then a person is able to pray through happiness and becoming close to Hashem. Oh, people are feeling sad. They don't want to daven to Hashem. They're feeling a sense of depression. How can I possibly get to do this? I can't even talk to Hashem. I can't even get myself going. What should I do? Oh, Reb Noson points out to us it's very easy. What we need to do is to start sorting out to get to the good points, and then through that the happiness comes, and when a person is filled with happiness, he feels like praying to Hashem. And this is what's an aspect of that's written. It says, Azamra lelokai ba'odi, that I will sing to my God with the little bit that I have. What do you mean the little bit? Klomar al yedei ba'odi. What does it mean through the ba'odi? What is this idea? Hainu al yedei ha'od ma'at. It's the little bit extra shemotzi ba'atzmo that a person finds in themselves. Al yedei zeh, when a person sees that little bit of goodness in themselves, Azamra, I will sing out. Hainu she'achol lezamer lehodot laHashem. A person is able to sing out and to give thanks to Hashem. V'al yedei zeh, and through this, biru hatov mehara, when a person sorts out, he pushes aside the good from the bad. Now, sin nigunim. This is how we make music, and that's what it's all about. Life is about making music. If you're a musician, then you appreciate the idea. All that you want to experience in life is music. You want to hear those sounds, the melodies, humming around. It sounds good, it feels good. It takes me away from the problems that I might experience in life. Well, life in general is one long song, and we can decide how we want to sing it. What nigun, what type of melody are we going to be playing in our lives? Is it going to be happy, sad, violent? Is it going to be anger? Is it going to be one of jealousy? This is the song that each of us are singing in our lives. Because the songs, this music, is made through sorting out the good winds from the sad, depressed winds, meaning the spirit that goes by, the wind that's flowing, woo, woo. When we sort out the good music from the bad, as I always point out, it's like the difference between a child who doesn't know how to play a particular instrument, and you put them on the piano, for example. They don't know how to play the piano. And all they do is they take their hands and they throw their hands down onto the different parts, the keys, and it makes all sorts of noises. Bam, 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 making a lot of noise. Well, of course, that's not music. And yet, when you look at the piano and you find an expert who knows how to play it, suddenly the same piano produces wonderful music. It's not a question of the piano that's bad. It's a question of the child or the person or the maturity of the person who is able to select the good sounds from the bad. And as the wind is directed in a certain direction, the beautiful melody comes out because the good sounds are selected. That's how beautiful melodies are made. This is, for example, like a musical instrument which is filled with air. And the musician, he sorts out with his hand, he selects all the different strings or the notes, the keys, through the different strings and the holes of the vessel, in other words, of the musical instrument. And through this, through this, he's able to select the correct and beautiful, the wind that is coming through from this particular musical instrument that comes out in a particular measurement that is fitting. And through this, we make music, we make melodies. So too a person is filled with a wind inside him which is mixed up with a good and a bad side to it, a type of depression. All the time we feel this inside ourselves as we breathe in and we breathe out. And those who know that, of course, if you want to feel relaxed, take in a deep breath, relax, let it out. Yes, the wind, that power, has the ability to change us from a good mood to a bad mood, from a bad mood to a good mood. This is the idea of the wind that we have within ourselves. V'zehu, and this is what it means. Shenakata pasuk lashon Azamra daika. That's why the verse teaches us, I will sing out. Shezeh bechinat nigunim, that this is music. Now, he brings down a note and he says, after it's described how it is that a person is able to bring himself from a situation where he's distant, and he's able to come close to Hashem. Now, Reb Noson turns the whole thing on the whole teaching on its side, and he says that since you can already start identifying with yourself correctly, use that same technique in order to have the same effect on other people. In order to select from them or with them the good from the bad. And it's through this that you'll be able to bring them to a state of teshuvah and to bring them closer to Hashem. If you're wondering how do you bring people closer to Hashem, the idea is to begin, of course, seeing the good points in them. Because as soon as you're able to see the good points, you see they're doing this, they're doing that. You did this, that's fantastic. You did that, fantastic. And the rapport starts to become formed, and already the person can see that you're on their side. And as a result of that, they begin to see the good in themselves also. And as a result of that, they feel that they can come close to Hashem also. Just as a person can judge himself on the side of merit, so he has to judge other people's also on the side of merit. Now, I always like to point out here, it's always enjoyable to listen to the Shear. It's always enjoyable to hear the concepts. And it's always enjoyable to feel that one is grasping the concept while we learn the material. And of course, the real effort comes about when we realize that the book is closed and we now have to go ahead in our real lives. We are now dealing with real people. This fellow pushes in the queue. That person does not give the right change. This person has outdone me. This person is shouting at me, etc. And of course, when this happens, we react spontaneously at that point in time as we want to, as we feel. And of course, we have to keep all of this in mind. So what we're doing here is we're going through the material. We're making it a part of us. And as a result of that, we're able to start saying to ourselves, the more I can make it a part of me, the more I will be able to be successful in implementing it in reality when I'm in the presence of other people. Let's point out once again, all of these concepts that we learn here, as beautiful as they are not always easy to put into practice immediately. And that is why when we hear this concept again and again and again, it gives us the opportunity to internalize it, and eventually it will become a part of us. So today it won't be. So tomorrow it might not be. But as we go through it again and again and again, something eventually clicks inside ourselves. And we begin to actually see the good in the other person. And we begin to actually see the good in ourselves. And suddenly we become different people, and they become different people. Even a completely evil person, we have to look in this evil person to find a good point. The fellow is as evil can be. I mean, if we look at him, generally speaking, and we're talking about normal people, we're not talking about the evil that the world knows, which everybody agrees to is considered to be the evil of the world. We're talking about, generally speaking, most people that we're in touch with who are good people, but they unfortunately have negative traits to them, negative behavioral patterns. So when we look at this particular individual and we say to ourselves, this person looks to me, at least, he might not really be that. In fact, he's not really that. But to me, he looks like this Rasha Gamur. We have to find the good point. It's clean and selected. And we have to find even more and more good points. Until eventually a person is able to cause him to ascend to goodness, to the side of merit. And then through this, we're able to bring another person to actually do teshuvah. When we begin to see those good points, we begin to realize who he is. We begin to see that it's not all as bad as I'm made out to be. Because when we have this fight with somebody that we don't like, it's usually because we tend to see all of that negativity suddenly building up. Now we have to do away with it. Yes, it's a great effort. I too am part of this situation of having to work on myself in these areas as well. So I say to myself, when the situation comes up, I say, how best can I change the situation? I tend to see maybe that this person has too much evil. No, I have to stop myself. Wait a second. Everybody has this element of evil. Unless a person is, of course, a complete tzaddik. He says to himself, if I have it in myself also, and this person has it in themselves, but I know myself to be generally good, I will find the goodness in that other person also, and through that, I will work on this relationship, and I will try to be better, and I will bring them back to do complete teshuvah. Now, a person is able to do this, that he can find a good point even in those who are sinners amongst the Jewish people. They do the most terrible things. Chazzan. Now, that individual can be a Chazzan. And he can daven to represent the community. In front of the community, he can daven on their behalf. The Chazzan of the community is not the opera star of the community. The Chazzan of the community is not somebody who is there to express his voice. And when people walk away from the service, they say, wow, didn't he have such a wonderful voice? Did you hear how he hit those high notes, those low notes? Psh, this is a Chazzan. Whoa, what a beautiful voice. No, this is not what Chazzan means. The word Chazzan comes from the root chozeh. A chozeh is somebody who can see, as if somebody is looking to the future. And he sees what is going on. The Chazzan is the representative of the entire community because with his greatness, he is able to see everything about the community. And what is it therefore that he sees? He sees the good points in everybody. That is what makes him a Chazzan. Because when he davens for the community, he says to Hashem, Hashem, everybody around here who's seated, who's davening today, they're all good people. They're all wonderful people. They have asked me to daven on their behalf, and I would like to say these prayers that all of their prayers should be answered immediately for the good right now, God. God says, why should I listen to you? O Chazzan. And the Chazzan says, it is because I can see all their good points. And this is what I bring with me to this tefillah, to this prayer. It is not that he selects the good point of the note that he reaches when he sings a particular thing and people say, wow, what a wonderful voice. It is because he has such a nature in his soul that he sees the good points, the good notes in everybody else. And it is through that that he creates the beautiful melody that ultimately causes Hashem to answer all the tefillot. That's what brings a person to be a Chazzan. It is through this that he causes the masses to fulfill their obligation. Tahayinu, which means Shema ale otam, that he brings them up. V'chach hem mitchaskim litpalel, and so they get strong, they're strengthened to pray. He walks in, the Chazzan, and he turns to Avraham. He says to Avraham, wow, you're fantastic. I believe that you were involved in this thing this last week. Wow, you're a wonderful guy. And he turns to Yitzchak. He says, Yitzchak, I heard there was good news with you. Such and such happened in your life this past week. That's fantastic. He turns to Yaakov and he says to Yaakov a similar idea. He goes around to everybody in the community and he speaks well. And of course, everybody in the community is so taken in by this fellow's charisma that they say, I feel good. And I feel like davening. I feel like I've got the energy. Oh, now I'm going to daven. I'm going to really enjoy this. And they connect with Hashem. The Chazzan is able to see the good points that strengthens people so they can daven to Hashem. Just like it is that everybody is not able to daven, except when he is able to sort out the goods in him. The community is also not able to pray until they select all the good that is within them. And that's what a community is. You know, I think I might have mentioned this before in the Shear that I did of Azamra, and you can go and listen to it over there to hear how Reb Nachman expresses this Torah, and then come back to the Shear and listen to how Reb Noson is explaining Reb Nachman's teachings. But the word Tzibur has the root as follows: Tzadi, Beit, Reish, Tzibur. Tzadi for tzadikim, Beit for beinonim, Reish for rishaim. The tzaddik, the middleman, the intermediate person, and the evil person. A tzibur is a composite of all three types of people. When we daven in shul, there will always be these three types of people. There's always somebody who's that really good person, number one. Of course, we want to say is a real tzaddik, a tzaddik in the sense of what the Alter Rebbe calls a tzaddik. Of course, that's something very special. And then there's the Beinoni, a person who is more or less an average type of person. He's neither here, he's neither there. Not in accordance with the definition of the Balatanya, who's describing what the Beinoni is, but still the principle is the same. And the Rasha, the evil person. But at the end of the day, the beauty is the bringing in together of so many different types of people. Everybody is living their lives in a certain way. Everybody is in this world to fulfill a particular task. Everybody is growing. Everybody's contributing. Everybody's a part of the community with somebody else. Now, our test is to connect with each other as we are in that situation. We need to be able to see each other for who we are. We need to be able to see that that person is going through his particular struggles and that person is going through his particular good points and his happy moments. And we connect with each other in this way. And this is what a community goes through, and this is what makes the prayer a prayer. He brings down a note after he described Inyan HaShaliach Tzibur, the matter of the leader of the community. Now that he was that his duty, the duty of the Chazzan, is to collect up all the good of the community. He wants to explain that actually this is the service of tzaddikim. The duty of the tzaddik, and we don't even know it, but this is what the tzaddik is doing all the time, is collecting all of these beautiful good points. He collects all the good points that there is in every Jew amongst the community of Israel. And through this, he builds a sanctuary, which is a place of holiness and a dwelling place for the Shekhinah. As the Pasuk says, you shall build for me a Mishkan, and I will dwell amongst them. When we build the Mishkan, then the Shekhinah dwells within us, in our lives. And there are many levels to this. Every tzaddik in accordance with his level. So too he has corresponding souls that are underneath him. This is a very interesting concept. The way of the tzaddik, one can see in the natural world around us, is the tzaddik studies Torah, and he teaches Torah. And when the tzaddik is involved in his teaching, then automatically he becomes the leader for a group of people. How does that happen? Because as the Torah teaches us, or as the Hasidic world teaches, it's the direction of the Hasidim, it's the direction of their feet. When the Hasidim move in a particular direction, they choose their Rebbe. And there is this automatic reaction that takes place for every leader in the Jewish people. And that is that he sets himself up in a certain way. And he begins to teach Torah. And people begin to accumulate by him and learn the Torah that he teaches. This is because these people are connected with the tzaddik or this teacher in a certain way. And as a result, he provides the nourishment, like a parent would provide nourishment for their young child who is still too young to go off and to prepare their own food. V'yesh tzaddikim muflagim. No, there are the outstanding tzaddikim. Shehem shoresh neshamas Yisrael, and they are the root of the souls of the Jewish people. V'hem boinem es hakoach haklali shel hashras hashchina ba'olam, and they build the general power of the indwelling of the divine presence in the world. V'hatinoikas shel beis rabban. And then it comes out that the children who study Torah in the kindergartens, in the primary schools, they receive the holiness of the vapor of their mouths from these sanctuaries that the tzaddik is busy building. So we know that the way of the children is that, as we're going to read in a moment, is that the world stands on the power of the vapor that comes out from the mouths of these young children. Why? Because the young children are innocent. And so therefore when their words come out, they are beautiful words. They aren't filled with all of the craziness and complications that we have as we grow up. By the time we reach the age of 20, we've already become filled with all sorts of crazy thoughts in our minds, crazy actions, crazy things that we've said. But when we're a child, we're only 5 years old, 6 years old, we're still young enough that whatever we are at that point in time is innocence. There's still an innocence to us. And therefore, when we study Torah, the Torah that is studied is an innocent Torah. It's a beautiful Torah. It's not mixed up with anything negative, with anything angry, with anything disappointing. It's mixed up only with innocence. Verda, you should know, he says, shekol echad metzaddik hador, each one of the righteous of the generation, melaked et hatov shel haneshamot shetachtav, he collects the good of all the souls underneath him. V'al yedei zeh hu boneh mishkan, and through this he builds a sanctuary to Hashem, heichal elyon shel kedusha, meaning in a spiritual sense, the tzaddik is busy building the sanctuary of holiness. Shemisham me'ah mishkan, from this sanctuary, mekablim tinoikas shel beis rabban, is hevel pihem. It is from here that the children at the kindergartens, at the schools when they're still young, they receive the vapor of their mouths, shekulo tov, that everything is good, ve'en bochet. A child is not filled with any sin. The child is innocent of sin. The child never did anything wrong. A child cannot do anything wrong. It is only later on, as the child grows up, the body develops and the soul starts to come out in a certain way and is exposed to the world, and all of a sudden it changes its reaction. Well, until then, the child is innocent. And because of this, they begin to study from the Book of Vayikra. It is known that when children begin their studies, they begin from Vayikra. Not from Bereshit Barei Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. They don't begin from the creation of the world. They begin from Vayikra, the book dealing with sacrifices. Why? Shesham muskarim hakorbanot, because there we mention the sacrifices. Shehem mevi'in tahara, and the sacrifices bring purity to a person. A person did something wrong, he brings a sacrifice to Hashem. The sacrifice atones for him, he brings purity back to him again. So too, when the children who are pure, when they come to study Torah, what part of the Torah should they study? The part that brings purity. And all from the vapor of the mouths of these children, that they didn't taste the taste of sin. And it's from there that comes out the holiness of their Torah. Ayin sham, see there. And just as it is that every tzaddik gathers the goods of all the neshamas which are underneath him, so too there is the greatest tzaddik, like a Moshe. Moshe is the greatest tzaddik, Moshe Rabbeinu, and all the souls fit underneath him. And that tzaddik is able to collect all the good which is found in every single Jew. Hu yodeya, he knows, upoel, and he does, kol habechinot, all of these aspects, sheyesh binyanze, in this matter, shel hamishkanot hanal, of these sanctuaries, sheboinem hatzadikim, that all of these tzadikim are building, shemisham mekablim hatinoikas shel beis rabban, and it is from there that the children who are learning in school, that is where they receive the power of their mouth, the vapor that comes from their mouth, the innocence, she'ein bochet, which has no sin. Ayin Shami says, called zeh heitev, see there in more detail, and so on. Fine. So he says over here, let's just see if he said one more point. He says, later on, we're going to describe this situation, that by means of causing the good to ascend, we awaken the attribute of mercy, and we turn over all of one's sins to merits. And consequently, a person will be without sin. And we have to understand that when the tzaddikim are sorting out the goods of the souls of the Jewish people, then each one of them becomes like a tinok shel beis rabban. When he does this, he turns everything over. It's like every single person becomes like that tinok again. He becomes like that child. And then he's able to begin to study Torah and to enter into holiness. And consequently, the beginning of the service of every single person is from Vayikra. Every person begins at Vayikra, which means from the holiness of the Mishkan. Parshas Vayikra is dealing with the concept, meaning the Book of Vayikra is dealing with the concept of the Mishkan in action. The sanctuary in action is the offering of the sacrifices in the Mishkan. And so when we turn over all of the bad to good, we begin to serve in the Mishkan, in the manner of holiness. And therefore we all come to learn Torah when we're in a state of holiness from this level of Vayikra, from this book of Vayikra. Consequently, the beginning of our service is from Vayikra, which means from the Mishkan, and this is the selecting of the good, sorting out the good from the bad. And then we come afterwards from this into different other levels in the Ma'amar, which we will speak about later on. We'll discuss it later on. Let us do a quick summary of all the points that we've learned up until now, and this summarizes this section that we've studied. Number one, when a person feels distant from Hashem, it is because he cannot see the good in himself, and that is because the good and the bad in him are mixed up. Until eventually the evil covers over the good, and this causes a person great heaviness and sadness, and it prevents him from davening and from entering into holiness, and it causes him to distance himself from Hashem and to fall. That's point number one. The next point, therefore, it is an obligation upon a person to search out the good that he has and to sort it out from the bad, remove it, and he needs to judge himself on the side of merit, and through this he'll be able to enter into Kedusha. Anybody who is seeking Kedusha, holiness, should know that rule number one is no depression, no sadness. So say, what do you do if you are depressed? Well, speak to a good friend, speak to a trusted rabbinical authority, somebody who you can really trust, and find out what can be done to help in that situation. Sure, there are psychologists and there are psychiatrists, and we're not dealing with the medical matters at this point in time. I don't want to get into that side of it. My duty is to express according to the rabbinical point of view. And from the rabbinical point of view, when a person is going through hard times and he needs a trusted person to speak to in a general sense, to speak about life in a general sense, he might find himself best suited to go and speak to a rabbinical authority to hear what the difficulties really are, what's bothering him, because sometimes it's not a matter of physicality that bothers him, it's a matter of spirituality. There's something inside himself that he might be missing, or he feels that he's not quite connecting to, or he feels that he's done something wrong that makes him who he is. He feels bad about himself. Sometimes he needs a trusted person who will look into him and to find those good points in him and say, you're not as bad as you thought you were, until eventually he feels a sense of satisfaction and happiness. This is Kedusha. That is the beginning of holiness. Holiness is when a person gets this level of happiness, when he feels tremendous gratefulness for everything, satisfaction in life, and he feels just on top of the world because everything is as it should be. He recognizes Hashem in his life. We continue. And through sorting out all of the good from the bad, he makes this strength of the melodies and happiness, that through this he's able to feel the closeness of Hashem and to pray fittingly. Now he can pray to Hashem in a fitting manner. And just as a person needs to do this to himself, he also needs to do this by other people as well. That means to select from them, to choose from them, to bring out from them the good from the bad. And that is the way of bringing them from the bad. And he returns them ultimately to do teshuvah. Now this service, he points out, is a service of the Chazzan of the community. That is the service that the Chazzan provides. The Shaliach Tzibur, the messenger for the entire community, the one who prays on behalf of the entire community, that is his role in life. That he needs to collect the good from all of the Tzibur when he walks into shul. If he cannot greet you when he walks into shul, he doesn't even know that you exist, he cannot be a Chazzan. Well, at least not in the sense of what Reb Nachman is talking about, what Reb Noson is talking about. The Chazzan is a person whose charisma is so great is that he connects with every single person in the community, no matter who they are. He sees their good points, he recognizes them, he communicates with them, he is a part of that community, and he takes everything that they're going through in his prayers. When he's standing as the leader of the community, he has only good things to say about the community. He wishes that his prayer is so powerful that everybody in the community will get what they want. Now think about that for a second. How many people find it so difficult to bless another? I myself have been around so many people who I felt were great individuals, outstanding individuals, and I was always hoping they would give me this blessing to be this, to be that. And they couldn't bring themselves to say the words. It's not a difficult thing. Because when a person is really great, he feels a natural tendency to want the best for the other person. He'll say it out loud. I wish you success. I wish that you should become a multi-billionaire. I wish that you should have children. I wish that you should marry the person that you want to marry. I wish that you should have this and that, whatever it is. Be successful in your Torah studies. Master the Torah, left, right, and center. Know it inside and out. I wish you to be able to have Ruach HaKodesh. Because a person who sees the good in the other sees the godliness, and he wishes for that person that they should connect with God on the highest level possible, and that they should have everything. And when they pray for them in their private prayers, they're only too happy to mention all their wishes for this person. So think about it next time when you're involved in your prayer, and say to yourself, do I think these good things for these people that I'm in touch with? Do I wish them these good things? Have I ever wished them these things before in my whole life? Wow, I've known this person for so long, and I never thought twice about wishing them a good thing for such and such, about praying for them in my prayers that they should have these good things. But this is the duty of the Chazzan. This is what the Chazzan is. He is the collector of good points, and he brings out the good points in everybody. And now he does this in order that everybody will be able to pray. And this is the service of the Tzaddikim, to collect all the good of the souls of the Jewish people in order to build the Mishkan, the sanctuary, which means a place of holiness and a place where the Shekhinah dwells, the divine presence. Now from the Mishkan comes out this power of the vapor, the air of the mouth of those who don't have sin, meaning the children, that through this each person is able to begin his studies of Torah and his service of Hashem as is fitting. That's what the Tzaddik does. Well, anybody can do it. Everybody can do it. Find the good points in other people, show them what they're made of, and before long they'll want to connect with Hashem. So if you can see the good points in me, I must have some good points. Wow, there must be a God. I never thought of myself having those good points before. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. Thank you for wishing the best for me. I didn't realize anybody thought I could have those things. Yes, wish them the best. Wish them the best home. Wish them the best children. Wish them the best shidduch. Wish them the best Torah books. Wish them whatever it may be in their lives that they may need, that makes them happy, makes them feel special, makes them feel happy, makes them realize that they have wonderful good points because they too are a spark of godliness. So he brings down here on this last note that this ma'amar that we're learning about is of the foundational, it is really the foundational of Rabbi Nachman. If you want to know what Rabbi Nachman's most foundational teaching was ever, here it is in front of you. It's this teaching of Azamra. As is brought down as it's brought down that Rabbi Nachman would warn people, he would tell them, go in this path. This is the direction you need to take. You need a path in life. What's the direction? It's seeing good in yourself. It's seeing the good in others. It's living one's life like that. Because when one can see good in oneself, one can do anything. It's when we can't see the good in ourselves that we don't know how to get on with life. But when we can see the good in ourselves, we can do anything. Anything we put our minds to. We can achieve. We can be successful. We can make a difference in the lives of others. But when we cannot see ourselves for who we are, and we're in the state that we don't believe we have any good points, we can do nothing. We can achieve nothing. So are you looking for a path in life? You're looking for the road to success? It's seeing the good in yourself. And it's seeing the good in others. Because the only way we can connect with other people constantly and to be successful in those relationships, one to the other, mutual giving, mutual receiving, mutual love, mutual everything. That comes about through seeing those good points constantly. I must tell you that on a personal level, I do teach numerous students, and many people write to me in email, and I'm always happy to respond. Sometimes my response is shorter, sometimes it's longer, and depending on time, we need to get together sometimes and discuss the issues involved. I don't have the time, unfortunately, to deal with all the situation in an email. But the one thing that I always find that makes a successful relationship is the fact that when we begin to talk to each other on a level of mutual respect, constantly seeing these good points that we have with each other, the better the relationship becomes. Because when I can see that good spark of that other person who's writing, I know it's that I can bring them to see the good that they really have. And when they can see the good spark that I have, the relationship is sealed, and it creates a wonderful relationship. It creates a wonderful feeling between us. So we continue over here that Rabbi Nachman said this is the way to go. And onwards, in the words of the halacha, it's going to be described all of these foundations at great length. And through these words, we're going to describe the first seif of the Shulchan Aruch. Yeah, we're at the first seif of the Shulchan Aruch, the very first seif where we said, Shivisi Hashem lenedi tamid, that we have to place Hashem before us always. And this is a great rule amongst the tzaddikim. This is the first halacha in the Shulchan Aruch. This is where we've got to. We need to understand the halacha, both on a physical level of connecting with the halacha, the path to go, holeich, halacha, going, and we need to connect it on the spiritual level. What is the spiritual path? The seeing of the good points. So one who occupies himself with, these are the things that we're going to learn about, one occupying himself with waking up in the morning, getting up, and fulfilling the pasuk that says, Shivisi Hashem lenedi tamid. And so it's described the order of the day and the life of a person. We're going to learn about sleeping. Yes, we're going to learn about waking up. We're going to learn about sleeping. We're going to learn about waking up. We're going to learn about getting up for Chatzot. What is he talking about? We're going to learn about a very special time in the evening, midnight. The most unique time of the day. Most people don't even know what it is. Those who party at that time have no clue what it is, because they're so involved in their partying that they don't understand the beauty of that special hour. But those who know that when one wakes up at the Chatzot hour, at midnight, according to the Torah's definition of midnight, not according to 12 o'clock on our clocks, when one wakes up at that time and everything is silent, as long as you don't have noisy neighbors, of course, but when generally speaking, the home is silent and beautiful, as you wake up, you realize that you're in the presence of Hashem. Your day begins. It's your moment to connect with Hashem like you've never connected before. And we're going to discuss that in more detail. So we're going to do the order of the brachot, the blessings that we say in the morning, Birkat HaShachar, and also the prayers that we say at Shachrit, and more. And through this, we're going to learn more about different types of advice and ways, different types of directions, how to fulfill this basic foundation which is described in the words of this ma'amar. So we have now concluded the first section within this law of Dinei Hashkamat HaBoker, waking up in the morning. And the title of the next section is called Hit'orerut Ve'Hashena, waking up from sleep. You can imagine what he's going to speak about. Obviously, it's got two directions to it. On the one side is the idea of waking up from sleep, because we sleep and we wake up. And of course, the other side that's so important is to realize the importance of waking up out of our sleep, out of our slumber, so that we're able to achieve what we need to achieve in our lives. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm Eliyahu Shear from Chesed Ve'emet, my website, www.lovingkindness.co. If you have enjoyed the shiur, please do give the shiur a like, share the shiur with others. Please feel free to comment and share your thoughts with me, your questions, whatever. You can always be in touch with me directly by going to my site and sending me an email from there, and I'll be delighted to be in touch with you. If you're able to support what we're doing and take a part and merit within the idea of helping us to grow further so that we can reach thousands more people and achieve our goal eventually of finding ourselves in a very beautiful home here, which will become a place of Torah and kindness for all in Jerusalem, please go and see my site and what we're doing, and please feel free to make yourself a partner, become a partner in all the activities that we're doing. Feel free to reach out to me and ask me any questions that you have about Torah and life. And should you want to study Torah one-on-one, please make an appointment. I'd be delighted to learn with you. If you're looking for coaching sessions to discuss your life and growth and how we can get to where you really want to be, I want to help you and direct you and work together with you so that we can get to a path where you can see the greatness that you have and you can become the great person that you really are. If you would like to study more about the wonderful craft of Safrut, the holy craft of Safrut, to learn how to write mezuzot and tefillin. I'm also a teacher, I'm a qualified sefer, and I would be delighted to teach you as well. So I look forward to being in touch with you, and I can't wait till the next shiur. Please tell me your thoughts about what you felt about this and what you'd like to learn more of, and I hope to prepare another shiur in the near future. Take care, see you soon, shalom shalom, bye bye.